Warning: this video makes use of details originating in the Homelands comic from Armada. This comic's canonicity is debatable.
Whatever faith you have in Serra, she has more in you.
The concept of divinity is known throughout the multiverse. Several different planes have gods that are worshipped by the mortal populace. On Theros, gods exist as ethereal beings, manifestations of abstract concepts. And on Amonkhet, gods are physical, towering humanoids of great power. But divinity is subjective, and many beings across the multiverse possess the power to inspire worship. Before the events of the Mending, the power of Planeswalkers was on a level that allowed them to easily claim the title of godhood. These beings wielded magic on a level most wizards could barely dream of, and were able to freely manipulate the laws of reality. A Planeswalker could wield devastating spells, create new life, or even forge an entirely new plane if they wished. For Planeswalkers, the claim of being a god was almost second nature, but few of them were able to inspire a religion that persisted long after their passing, even into the current era. Much of Serra's early life is unknown. Her plane of origin, her youth, and how her spark ignited are all shrouded in mystery. As a Planeswalker, she would spend time traveling across the multiverse, inspiring those she met and learning all she could. In the ancient past, on the world of Dominaria, Serra would create the first of the Serra Angels, majestic, holy warriors that would strike down any evil they encountered. These angels would play a crucial role in a revolt that saw the end of the Shelton Empire, leading to many on Dominaria worshipping Serra as a god. While her angels may have since become Serra's most famous creation, they are by no means her most impressive. Serra would eventually decide to begin the greatest undertaking of her life, the creation of an entire plane from scratch. She would craft, through the power of her own will, an artificial plane composed primarily of white mana. Known simply as Serra's Realm, this world was a peaceful, heavenly domain where suffering was a distant thought. Serra's realm was populated largely by her own worshippers, as well as the various angelic beings she would create. The realm was in a state of eternal dawn, the beauty of the sun ever on the horizon in every direction. Serra used her power to create various floating landmasses, great heavenly meadows that dotted the sky. There was also a great many cities and floating buildings dotting the world, the most magnificent of them being Serra's sanctum itself, her citadel that she called home. Here, she resided not only as the goddess of the world, but as a great teacher and instructor. Families would often send their children to the sanctum to learn from Serra herself. She would impart on her charges the virtues of art, discourse, freedom, and peace, the ideals that Serra herself cherished the most. Although the world was sustained by Serra, she was aided by her many angelic servants. In particular, unlike a natural plane, the mana of Serra's realm needed to be tended to constantly. To oversee this process, Serra divided her angels into 5 separate orders to monitor and maintain the flow of mana. The orders were those of reason, truth, law, grace, and duty, and each was responsible for regulating a single color of mana to ensure the balance of the plane. Serra's realm was perhaps the most peaceful world in the multiverse, a plane of art and music, love and harmony. But nothing lasts forever, and the realm was not prepared for what was to come. After launching an attack on the plane of Phyrexia, the Planeswalker Urza would be forced to flee from world to world, hounded by Phyrexians and greatly injured by his encounter with Yawgmoth. Urza and his companion Xantcha would eventually make their way to Serra's realm. Though apprehensive, Serra did agree to heal Urza and allowed him to stay in her realm for 5 years, recovering from his wounded body and fractured mind. When Urza finally did depart, it would be only just before his enemies, the Phyrexians, managed to discern his location. The armies of Phyrexia attacked Serra's realm, and the many angels fought hard to repel the invaders, driving them away from the world. The damage, however, was done. The black mana of the Phyrexians forever polluted the realm. Though her world was in no immediate threat, the corruption it experienced at the hands of Phyrexia drove Serra to grief. She took with her a handful of followers and abandoned the world, leaving behind her archangel, Radiant, to oversee the realm. Serra would wander the multiverse afterwards, before eventually taking her followers to settle on the plane of Olgrotha. Here, her followers would build a new church in her honor, and though it was a far cry from the majesty of Serra's sanctum, they still worshipped her all the same, singing the verses of Serra's holy scriptures, the Song of All. It was on Olgrotha that Serra would find her spirit emboldened once more, for it is on this world that she encountered another planeswalker, the teacher Faraz. She would intervene when Faraz and his companion, the Minotaur Sedru, were attacked by a monstrous spider. Serra summoned her angels to drive off the creature, and she and Faraz seemed to fall in love at first sight. Shortly after, the pair would encounter one of Olgrotha's most dangerous inhabitants, the ancient vampire known as Baron Sengir. The Baron invited the two planeswalkers to his castle, where he briefly discussed the world with them and informed them of his claim to it, decreeing that he wanted neither of them to interfere in his affairs. Neither Serra nor Faraz heeded the words of the Baron, and so set out in aiding the people of Olgrotha against him. Serra would watch over the church erected in her honor, helping to guide it as a bastion of faith in the world, and Faraz would establish a school of magic, teaching the people of Olgrotha about the deepest secrets of mana. Eventually, the planeswalker Taser would come to Olgrotha in the middle of a planeswalking duel with Sedru. Faraz would engage Taser in battle, ultimately driving him away. It was after this battle that Serra and Faraz agreed that additional steps were necessary to safeguard Olgrotha. These two would be wed, and together they enacted Faraz's ban, a powerful spell that would guard the entire world of Olgrotha from other planeswalkers. Planeswalking to the world became an impossibility, and at the same time, scrying into the world or summoning away its inhabitants was no longer possible. With their world protected, Serras and Serra could enjoy the company of one another, happy in their marriage. But this joy, like all joys in Serra's life, was a temporary one. Serras would meet his end when a magical experiment he was performing went wrong. Containing a fire elemental within an icy prison caused a backlash of energy that cost him his life. In her grief, Serra would depart from a world she loved once again, traveling to the plane of Dominaria. Here, while blending in with a crowd of refugees, Serra was attacked by another planeswalker. Though she briefly considered retaliating, her sorrow was too great, and she did not put up a fight. Grievously injured, Serra was tended to by a monk, Brother Angus, who witnessed her in her glory. Angus would do what he could to make her final days peaceful, but ultimately, Serra perished, and Angus would erect a great cathedral in her honor. The Church of Serra exists to this day, serving as one of the greatest holy institutes on Dominaria. Her angels still exist, being created to guard the people of the world against evil. Few planeswalkers have had such a positive effect on the multiverse, and fewer still have had to experience such tragedy in the process. For her part, Serra is remembered as a goddess of light and love across Dominaria, her legacy being one of righteousness. Numerous cards throughout Magic the Gathering's history have been associated with Serra, but she herself did not receive a Planeswalker card until the release of the set Modern Horizons. Serra the Benevolent is one of the most flavorful Planeswalker cards in the game, with each of its effects referencing a card associated with Serra herself. Her +2 is a callback to the card Serra's Aviary, an enchantment that gave your flying creatures +1/+1. Her second ability, the -3, simply creates a token that is, for all intents and purposes, a Serra Angel. And her final ability, at the cost of 6 loyalty, creates an emblem that replicates the effects of worship, a powerful enchantment that illustrates the protective relationship Serra had with her followers. Serra has been dead for a long time, but her influence on the multiverse continues to this day. While a new iteration for her is unlikely, it's doubtless that we'll see more cards referencing this angelic planeswalker in the future. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or sharing this video with your friends. If you're subscribed to my channel and click the notification bell, you'll be alerted whenever I upload new videos. Finally, if you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like me to cover, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. Thanks again, and have a great day.